Hey guys, it's Kevin and this is my review for the American Season 3, Episode 4, Dimebag, and of course, guys, this was another fantastic episode. Of course, I was looking forward to this episode, and this was by far the best episode of the season. I really loved everything going on in this episode, and this episode, the thing about this episode is that even though it was the best episode of the season, not a lot happened in this episode. You can definitely say a lot more. Well, a lot did happen, but not like a lot, like nothing that's going to change the show, nothing earth-shattering. But it's not like last episode where a lot happened, but I love this episode so much because there's so many great conversations in this episode, and so much that is implying stuff, and it really makes things harder for Phillip and Elizabeth, and I just really loved everything going on in this episode. We saw Nina again, which was great, and let's just get into this episode because it was fantastic. So we start with Elizabeth. She's sitting undercover at a park, and she's keeping surveillance, of course, on Isaac Breland's daughter, because, of course, they said that they were planning on recruiting her because, you know, they want to use her instead of Paige, and she watches her buy a bag of weed from a drug dealer in the park, and she gets home and tells Philip about the transaction, and he feels kind of guilty because she's so young, and you can understand why Philip doesn't want to recruit Paige, because, of course, you know, she is so young, and this girl's so young, and I saw a lot of connections between that, and basically Elizabeth reasons that the CIA is a hard target and that they don't really know what they're you know, this isn't going to end well for them and everything, and I myself am like, there's no way they're going to get this girl to work for them. I mean, she's 18, she doesn't seem like she cares, like, how do they think they're going to get her to work for them? I didn't see how that was going to work. So Paige arrives home. They try to plan a birthday dinner for her because it's her birthday, but she says that she really doesn't want to make a big deal out of it, which honestly, I like seeing that. I like seeing that Paige really is just like, you know what, who cares that it's my birthday? I don't really want to make a big deal out of it, and I thought that was well done overall. And basically, you know, Elizabeth is urging her to at least have some friends over on her birthday, but Paige says that she will invite over Pastor Tim and his wife, which obviously wasn't what they meant, and she shoves a door in their face. So, basically she did that, first of all, to get them to shut up about it, because she really does not want a huge celebration. Two, it's kind of weird that I mean, the thing with Pastor Tim, the reason she invited him over, I think, is because she's just so close with him, she feels so connected to him, that's why she invited him over. And you can see this look on Phillip and Elizabeth's face, like, what? I mean, they don't know what she's talking about, but basically, I thought that was a very well done scene. I really enjoyed. That was a great way to start the episode. So Nina's sitting in her prison cell, and I have to say, this might have been Nina's best episode yet. I love the writing with Nina in this episode. I actually really like Evie's character now. I didn't know how to feel about her when she was first introduced, and I have to say, after this episode, I really like her character. I really do like Evie's character. Because Nina's sitting in a prison cell, and the guards bring her out for a meeting, and one of the men in charge fill her in on her new cellmate, Evie. And they offer her a deal. If she can get Evie to talk about the drop where they caught her picking up a package, they'll consider her request for a more lenient sentence. Because, of course, you know, Nina's in solitary confinement right now, and she really does not want to be. She wants to be a lot more open and things like that. So they basically make her this deal, and it actually does make the two of them a lot closer. We'll get to that, but I really like that overall. So Elizabeth's upset that she thinks that Paige doesn't have any friends, and, you know, she's worried about that. And Philip reassures her that Paige is just trying to bug her and get under her skin, which I do agree. That's why Paige did that. And speaking of kids, I like that Philip talks to Elizabeth about this. I don't think we get a lot of conversation about this, and I like that we touched upon this because I myself am like, does Elizabeth really know what's going on here? Philip lets Elizabeth know about his, what's going on with Martha, and I like that he told her about that because, I mean, he should be honest with her. He should tell her what's going on in his life with Martha, and I like that he did, so he's ranting that Martha's pressuring him to get foster kids, and Paige, you know, basically Elizabeth doesn't really see the problem there. She doesn't see what the problem is, and because, you know, she knows that he's going to say no, but he just needs to tell Martha no, but he doesn't know if he really can do that because she's so persistent and everything. And I thought that was really interesting, you know, what they talk about, what they were talking about there. And back to Paige, you know, Elizabeth really feels like she's kind of like antisocial and things like that, and I thought that was really interesting. At this point, their relationship is not really that bad. I mean, their relationship is actually really good right now. So, Philip follows Isaac Breland's daughter, Kimberly, and I really liked her character, Kimmy, as she wants to be called. I really liked her character, I have to say. I like seeing it. It was kind of cool to see Phillip interact with a younger girl. I do have to say, I really like that. Because I like seeing them interact with different people, and after this episode, Phillip is officially my favorite character. I mean, he's going through hell right now. Because I'm going to talk about what's going to happen with Kimmy when we get to the end of this review, but basically, her and her friends are denied at the door of the bar because their fake IDs are no good, and Phillip introduces himself to them and lies and says his name is Jim. Of course, that's his code name, and he gives Kimberly his phone number and tells her that he can hook her up with real IDs from the DMV so that she can get into clubs, and then Elizabeth visits Lisa, and she needs help, and Lisa lets her in and explains to her husband that she is her sponsor. And I really want to talk about Lisa's character overall, because I thought it was really interesting when we found out here. We find out that Lisa and her husband had a very good relationship, but they argued a lot, and it just didn't end well for them. And I kind of feel like that's implying Phillip and Elizabeth's relationship overall. Like, the status of where their relationship is. They're in like a non-talking status. Like, they're talking to each other, but they're not really getting along. They're not really enjoying each other. Like, they're just not acting like a couple. They're not. And I think that Lisa's implying what's going to happen to them. And I thought that was a very interesting thing overall, and I definitely really enjoyed that. And I thought her character, overall, I really liked it. I really liked all the side characters of this episode, I have to say. So at home, Philip's quizzing Henry on the state's capitals, and of course, with Henry, I was wondering if they go back to that whole Sandra thing, but they don't go back to that. And Paige tells him that he got a phone call, and the operator says that there's tickets are available for pickup tomorrow afternoon for the orchestra. And I was like, what are they talking about here? So I didn't exactly know what that was about, but okay. Stan then heads to work the next day, and I have to say, Stan in this episode, a lot of stuff happened with Stan. I mean, Stan really is a mess right now. We see a scene where Stan is going to counseling, basically, to get some help for, what's going on between him and Sandra, and he talks to the counselor, even though he really doesn't want to talk to him. He gets him to talk, and he finally talks to him. He tells him basically what's going on in his situation and everything, and eventually he does get the counselor to listen to him, which I like seeing, and he basically understands that what Stan is going through, and he tells Stan that he needs to be vocal to her and basically just tell her straight out what he wants to say. And I like that he told him straight out how he felt, because that was something that he had to do. He had to tell him exactly how he felt, and he basically tells him that she's he feels like shit and he's tired of it, and she's being bitchy and everything. And I like seeing that scene overall because it really shows how he feels about her. And this whole episode, Stan is just a mess. He has so many things going on in his life, and it's really affecting him. So his boss takes him aside and warns him that something doesn't feel right with Zinadia, the woman that defected from Russia. He just doesn't feel like they can trust her. And Stan's concerned because she's going to be meeting with the president's senators after her press tour. And if you remember, she really does not want to be here, and she really doesn't want to be a professional speaker. She's really just not up to that. And he doesn't think that she should be receiving access like that. And I gotta agree with Stan on that. She really does not seem like the right person to recruit, but the only reason they're doing this is, of course, because Nina's in jail. So, and I like, one of the things I definitely like about Stan is that we see here that it's not just about Sandra, it's also about Nina, because he does talk about Nina. So Nina tries to make small talk with Evie, and she got some more information out of her, and Evie doesn't bite, though, and says she's tired and lays down, refuses to talk to her. So she's not really getting her to talk and everything. So Elizabeth decided to spend the night at Lisa's house, and in the morning Lisa cries to her husband Maurice has been out of work for 4 months, and he has started drinking, and she had to send her kids to stay at her sister's house because things were getting so bad. And like I said, I really feel that's trying to show what Elizabeth and Philip's relationship is eventually going to be. Because again, Philip said to Elizabeth that Philip said essentially that they're going to be finished. So that could really happen to Philip and Elizabeth, and you really do feel bad for Elizabeth in that scene. It's just like, oh my god, I don't want that to happen to them. But there's a possibility that definitely could happen to them. So I thought that was really interesting, the way they did that. So Philip meets up with Kim at the park and gives her the fake IDs that he promised her. And basically, he talks to her, and she asks him what his occupation is, and of course he's not going to tell her the truth. He tells her that he is a lawyer, and basically, she asks why he's laughing, and he basically tells her that they are currently lobbying Congress to lower the legal drinking age, and of course she's 18, and they're trying to lower the drinking age to 18, so I thought that was really interesting. And then she gets him to listen to this song by the band The Yayas. And again, it was nice to see Phillip interact with a younger girl. I just really like seeing it overall. I really like their interactions, and I thought overall their interactions were just really well done. I definitely really enjoyed them. So Stan takes Zinadia to a diner, and she excuses herself to go to the bathroom, and Stan is confused when she comes back to the table for her purse. It is. Definitely she is hiding something. So he takes her home and he heads back to the diner and ransacks the woman's bathroom. And after checking the tampon holder, toilet paper dispenser, and the tiles in the ceiling, he begins hitting the wall because he can't find anything. And he knows that there's something going on with her. Now, I personally am not going to say what's going on because I don't know what's going on right now with her. I think Zinadia is definitely hiding something. I don't know if she's connected to Nina or something like that, but I just feel like they can't trust her. You can tell they can't trust her. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, definitely. So then after this, I really want to talk about this next scene. Phillip gives Paige this record that is of the Yayas, that band, and Elizabeth's very upset with him because you can definitely see that they're clashing a lot. At first, they weren't really clashing, but in this scene, they clash a lot because Phillip's talking to Paige all about this, and he gives her this album, and Elizabeth comes up with the idea of tacos for dinner for Paige because she really, again, she didn't really want a big celebration, and Elizabeth thought it'd be fun for her, but Philip had already talked to Paige about the idea of having steak, and they already finalized that. So Elizabeth feels really out of place. They have this huge fight over this, and it was really big to see, and I really like what Philip says to Elizabeth. I thought this was a really well done scene overall because Philip talks to Elizabeth and basically tells her that she basically needs to stop going to church with Paige and things like that, and Elizabeth says she's just trying to bond with her. And I actually like what Elizabeth is saying to him because what she's saying is that she is bonding with her now because she knows that this has to happen. And he can't just not do anything. Because that's what he's doing. He's not doing anything about this. He's not even bringing it up. And he needs to do something about this. And I like that Elizabeth told him that you can't just ignore this. You have to accept that this is what's going to happen. Paige is being recruited, and you just have to accept it. She's accepted it, and he needs to accept it. My question is, can Philip accept it? I think he can. I just don't think he wants to. And that's personally how I feel about Philip's logic and everything. So I thought that was a very interesting scene, definitely. And I'm very interested in seeing where that's going to go because I definitely feel like Philip he wants to listen, but he doesn't want to accept it. And Elizabeth, though, is getting ready to recruit Paige, and she's saying this needs to happen. We are assigned to do this. You can't turn this down. And it's a really big scene because they really are starting to really have a big difference of opinion, even something over dinner. It's crazy. So in her jail cell, Nina's sobbing and working her charms on Evie. She's slowly getting closer to her. And I like that Nina tells her exactly what happened to her. She talked to her before about how she's a KGB agent and that she used to be one and that there was this guy that she liked, of course, Oleg. And she tries to get her to talk to her, and Evie just doesn't talk. But you can see that she's slowly warming up to her. So her mission is slowly working. And I actually like the interactions between Nina and Evie. I definitely feel like by the end of this season, they're actually going to become really good friends. I could definitely see Nina and Evie becoming really good friends. Because right now, this is strictly business for Nina because she wants to get out of jail. But I could definitely see this turning into more than just, business. I could definitely see this turning into a close friendship because I gotta say, I really like Nina's character in this episode, definitely. I mean, it was really cool to see Nina just interact with this girl, and I really enjoyed seeing it overall. I really hope that Nina gets what she wants. I mean, I want her to get out of jail, definitely. And of course, not too much with Oleg and Arcady, except that they know what's happened to Nina now, and they want to help her out. Not really too much going on there, but I like seeing that overall. I thought that was really well done, so really good stuff there. So then it's Paige's birthday dinner, and the pastor shows up with his wife while they're at the table. He begins basically, they're having a good time and everything, and basically Paige is saying that it's all she could have asked for, and that's really great. And he then begins talking about Jesus and being a pacifist, and how he's not and how he is a pacifist, and basically Paige announces to her parents that the reason that she called Pastor Tim and his wife over is not because of her birthday. She did this because she had to get consent from Philip and Elizabeth, is because she actually wants to get baptized at church and make herself clean for Jesus. And the pastor explains that they wanted to check with their parents before they go through with it, and Philip and Elizabeth are speechless because they don't really know how to feel about this. They've never really been through something like this before. But Philip should be happy for Paige because he talked about what he really wants for her. He wants Paige to have a normal life. He wants her to get married. He wants her to experience love. He wants all these things to happen to her. And Elizabeth is saying, while all those things are great, they need to accept that that's not going to happen to Paige. They need to look more realistically, and I like seeing that Elizabeth said that to me. I thought that was really well done overall, and I definitely really enjoyed that. So, basically, Stan shows up on Sandra's doorstep, and he asks her to come in outside, and I like that he tells her the truth here. I definitely really enjoyed this, because he never really told her what was fully going on. And now she knows and confessed to her that he had an affair and he cheated on her with a woman through work and he was in love with her and he now feels like shit about it, but it's over now and he's really sorry. And you can see the look on Sandra's face. It's just a look of relief because they've really had a lot of tension lately and they've really gone through a lot. And now that, Stan has said all this to her, it's really his relief for her, and I really was happy that Stan came clean to her about that, because he needed to. He needed to come clean to her, you could see that it was really affecting him, definitely, and I like that he finally comes clean to her and says that, you know what, yeah, I am sorry about what happened, and do I feel they can repair the relationship? No, I don't. I think that Stan truly is in love with Nina, and he wants to be with Nina. He's not going to end up with her because she loves Oleg, but I think that right now their relationship is over for the most part, but I definitely feel in the future maybe they could respawn it. I could definitely see that possibly happening, but we'll have to see. Overall, though, I thought that was a very well done scene. I really liked what Stan said there. That was really good. So after Paige's birthday dinner is over, Philip and Elizabeth bicker over her getting baptized, and she thinks that if she tells Paige who they really are, then Paige will drop the baptism, which I found very interesting because now Elizabeth is thinking, maybe we shouldn't go through this because she wants Paige to get baptized. She wants this to happen to Paige. I mean, Paige, all they really want is for Paige to be happy. Again, even though Elizabeth wants, this to happen to Paige and knows that this has to happen, she does want her daughter to be happy. And basically, they don't really know what's going to happen, and Philip argues that Paige isn't ready to know the truth, and I mean, Elizabeth doesn't want her to get baptized, and they don't want, of course, they're against religion. They don't want this. The only reason Elizabeth goes with her to church is because she wants her to be happy. And legitimately, I do feel they want her to be happy, but she thinks that, this is going to help them. But I like that Philip says that she's not ready to know the truth. So they're still really going through this. So Philip is really upset. He's really pissed off at Elizabeth. He's tired of hearing about it, and they keep having the same arguments over and over again. So he decides to go to the park and in the dark to smoke weed with Kimmy and listen to music. And you can definitely see that those two are getting very close. And I really like their bonding, but it looks like this is possibly going to lead to a relationship. I mean, it seems like Kimmy is actually going to flirt with him, and it looks like in the next episode he's really going to have to choose who he really wants to be with, Martha, Elizabeth, or Kimmy. Kimmy, I mean, I don't think they're going to start a relationship. I think that he's going to be strictly business with her, and I think that eventually they're going to have to do something about her. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be interesting to definitely see what ends up happening between Kimmy, and Philip. I definitely like that overall. Let's talk about Paige. I do want Paige to get baptized. I do. I think Paige wants it, and I think it's a good thing for Paige. I think that Paige deserves to get baptized. She should. I definitely want to see that happen to Paige. But of course, Elizabeth doesn't want that to happen, and Philip doesn't want that either. But at the same time, Philip does not want her to know the truth. So they really have to decide what they want to do here, because they really seem like they're very scattered with their ideas. And it makes sense. I mean, they're parents. They're concerned about her. And Elizabeth even says a line that parents always want to be close to their children. That's true. And Elizabeth says the only reason she's going to church with Paige is because she's close with her. She wants to be close with her, so that way when she tells her, she won't react in a huge way. And I like that Elizabeth said that, because it's true. You do have to be close with your kids, because if you're close with your kids and you have a good relationship with them, they're not gonna freak out on you and things like that. And especially in this situation that they're in right now, definitely it's a good thing to be close with her. So I like that Elizabeth said that to me, because yeah, they do have to be close with her. I thought overall that was definitely very well done. Let's talk about Nina and Evie. I definitely feel that, as I said, those two are going to become really good friends. We don't get too much with Evie in this episode, but I definitely feel that Nina and Evie, they're going to become really good friends. I feel like they're going to become really good friends. Zinadia, I don't know what she's hiding. I know that she probably is not who she says she is. I don't think that Zinadia they can trust. I don't think she's as trusted as an ally as Nina. I definitely feel she's hiding something. I really do. And I don't know if she's connected to Nina in some way. I don't know if Nina sent her over. But I find it interesting that the second that Nina is gone, someone else shows up. I find that really interesting. So I don't know how she is overall, if she's connected to Nina, but I just don't really trust Zinadia right now. I don't, and I don't know what it is about her, but I just don't trust her. So, and I guess the only other thing we have to talk about is Stan and Sandra. I like that he legitimately told her what was going on there and that he is in love with Nina. I thought that was really good overall. And I really enjoyed their relationship, and I definitely feel like even though their relationship's over, they are in a good place with themselves, which is good because it's good that they're in a good place with themselves, and I want them being in a good place with themselves. And then I guess the last thing I'll talk about is Philip and Martha. He needs to decide what he wants to do about this Martha situation because Martha, we know, is very persistent. She's not going to shut up about it. When she has an idea, she goes for it. She talks about it, and she's not going to shut up about this. And I like that Elizabeth said that to him because she's really not going to shut up about it. But that's basically all I have to say for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, guys, by far the best episode of the season. I know not a lot of stuff happened, but there were so many conversations this episode that were so interesting. So many parallels to what's going on in Philip and Elizabeth's relationship and other things like that. And I definitely really enjoyed seeing that. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.